As the world scrambles in the aftermath of the Hania assassination, more than 100 hostages remain in Hamas captivity, and time is running out to bring them home. Joining us now to discuss is Daniel Lifshitz, the grandson of Israeli hostage Oded Lifshitz and former Israeli hostage in Gaza, Oded Lifshitz. Daniel, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, today marks 300 days in captivity for your Oded. What is being done to push forward in hostage negotiations, if anything, at this point?
I think at this point we are inside an unknown time. It's very, very difficult to understand what would be the consequences of that. Personally, I think assassination of mass murderer, archi-terrorist like Ismail Hania, who is responsible for October 7, is not something that should change humanitarian crisis of 115 hostages whom are there for 300 days and feel like every day is 3. So it's like 900 days today for them. And for the Palestinians, that the Gazans should get their permanent ceasefire after releasing all the 115 hostages. I'm sure that a terrorist which is responsible of October 7 and which is not the decision maker doesn't need to bother and doesn't need to make the change.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, how are the other families of hostages responding to this assassination? Is it viewed by any as a diplomatic setback, or there's no real change, at least that we know of now, to Hamas's approach to these negotiations?
Look, for us, for the families, after 300 days, you understand that the feeling is horrible, no matter about anything or another. It's just devastating. We are really desperate, and we see every day that both sides agree for a deal and don't sign the deal. So also the Americans should say who are the ones who are refusing to the deal. And when I'm speaking and seeing that a country as the British Prime Minister is saying that a ceasefire should be without connecting it directly to the hostages, that is something that bothers us a lot. And if something like that would happen, that would be awful for our hostages, and we cannot accept that. So what we need to do is make the pressure of both sides. We don't need to put any new sections from the Israeli side to prevent a deal. That is very important. We have no time. We can't know what will happen to our hostages in that time. And after 300 days, we know that many of them cannot survive it. And if we'll pass more and more days, we will just have more and more dead hostages. That is something that we cannot accept anymore, not as a country, not as a nation, not as the Israeli and Jewish people who are really, for them, the value of life is one of the most important things. So we should prove that the value of life is one of the most important things for us.
Absolutely. We are out of time, but Oded, Daniel, I wanted to thank you for your time. And of course, we are all here in the studio praying for the safe return of your Oded, as well as the full recovery of Yocheved, who I know is doing well from previous interviews. Thank you so much for your time, Daniel.
Thank you.